Yeah, just to check whether audio and video is okay.
Hi all, I am Priyadarshini, founder of Learning Foods. I started my first business in the year 2014.
Madam, you can mute yourself. Priyadarshini, you can mute yourself.
Okay, sir.
Sanjay, little zoom it out, Sanjay.
మనోహర్ ఇది పూర్ణిమ మేడం అక్కడ ఉన్నాడు. పూర్ణిమ మేడం ఇంకో లాగిన్ కనపడుతుంది. ఇంకో లాగిన్ వీడియో కనపడుతుంది. మళ్ళీ కెమెరా స్విచ్ ఆన్.
Sir, we put off the camera, we will switch it on, sir.
Priyadarshini madam, can you please put off your camera, please? Thank you.
Good morning to one and all. A very warm welcome to National Technology Day celebration organized by our institute, CSIR-CFTRI Mysuru, on virtual mode. Science and technology is the answer for the growth and security of a nation. Right from the day-to-day use to medicine, infrastructure, aviation, electricity, information technology, agriculture, and most importantly, in the field of food science, technology has played an inevitable role and will continue to play. Honorable Chief Guest, Padma Shri Dr. V. Prakash, former Director, CSIR-CFTRI, and former CSIR Distinguished Scientist, respected Director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, distinguished invitees from CSIR Sister Labs, RC members, scientists, staff, and former staff of CFTRI, media personnel, and dear students. Once again, we extend a very hearty welcome to all of you. Welcome, sir. May I now request our director to share our thoughts on National Technology Day and begin the event. Please, ma'am.
Ma'am, you are on mute, ma'am.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
So I greet all of you on this day, the National Technology Day. Respected Chief Guest of today, Padma Shri Dr. V. Prakash, former Director CSIR-CFTRI and former Distinguished Scientist CSIR, members of our Research Council, Directors of CSIR Labs, distinguished invitees, all of our CSIR-CFTRI licensees who have joined us virtually, colleagues from CSIR, retirees, colleagues and students of CSIR-CFTRI, friends from the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a privilege to welcome you all to today's function. Due to the pandemic, we are having this function virtually. At the outset, I am extremely pleased to welcome our distinguished chief guest, Padma Shri Dr. Vishweshwaraya Prakash, former director of CSIR-CFTRI and distinguished scientist CSIR. All of us are familiar with him. I have actually known him as a teacher, senior colleague, director, mentor, and this association actually goes back over 3 decades. I am also extremely happy to welcome the licensees who have joined us virtually today. And we hope that to hear from them their experiences about the technologies that they have taken from us. As we all know, May 11th marks the anniversary of the Pokhran nuclear tests of 1998 and India's advancements in this space. In 1998, a country fired successfully the Operation Shakti missile at the Indian Army's Pokhran test range in Rajasthan. This was the first of 5 nuclear tests carried out at Pokhran and was led by our late President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. These tests also led to the declaration of India as a nuclear state by our then Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. In the Indian context, the events led to a surge in entrepreneurship spirit to develop cost-effective indigenous technologies that were unique to our circumstances. You will be happy to note that on this day, India also tested its first indigenous aircraft, Hansa-3, which flew from Bengaluru and after the testing performed a successful test firing of the Trishul missile developed by DRDO. Hansa-3 is India's first all-composite light aircraft designed and developed by CSIR-NAL, our sister lab in Bengaluru. It is most suitable for ab initio flying training, sports, and hobby flying. The aircraft incorporates lightning protection and has the necessary equipment for night operations. It has adequate short takeoff and landing capability and can operate from semi-prepared airfields. This aircraft fleet has accumulated more than 4,000 hours of flying, and all of these are well in line with the policy of our government under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. Today, many of us belong to CSIR, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research family. CSIR is known for its cutting-edge R&D knowledge base in diverse science and technology areas and is a contemporary R&D organization under the leadership of our Director General, Dr. Shekhar C. Mande. CFTRI, under this umbrella, since its inception in 1950, has been carrying out innovative research in the area of food science and technology. In 2021, our institute has received 26 projects from the food and packaging industry. We have developed 37 new technologies this year that are ready for release to the industry. I'm happy to share that in spite of the COVID pandemic, we achieved a record number of transfers and congratulate the investigators and their teams for their success with able support of the team CFTRI, particularly the technology transfer and business development, as well as the planning, monitoring, and coordination departments. Amongst these projects and technologies are also socially relevant projects, and our institute has always had a very high societal relevance and responsibility. Some of the technologies have also been given at discounted price or even free of cost. In 2020-21, CSIR-CFTRI transferred 124 technologies to around 93 licensees. I congratulate team CSIR-CFTRI for this great achievement and hope the coming year will achieve even better results. Every year, we used to invite our licensees to our institute and felicitate them and also take their feedback as to how they were faring in the commercialization of our technologies. Due to the ongoing pandemic, we are unable to do so this year. However, thanks to technology, we are still able to conduct the function virtually. And of all the licensees, we have many of them present today. And I hope that 3 of them will be sharing briefly their experiences. I now hand over to Mr. Mache, Head Technology Transfer and Business Development, to brief about the technologies of the Institute and our licensees. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam. Respected Padma Shri Dr. Vishweshwara Prakash, former Director CFTRI and distinguished scientist CSIR. Respected Director Dr. Annapurna Singh, sister lab directors, RC members, licensees, my fellow colleagues and students. It is a really great pleasure to present the technologies developed and technologies transferred to the industry. As Madam said, that if you look at the situation in last 1 year, virtually it was very difficult for us to work. And taking the theme of this year's National Technology Day, that future of science, technology, innovation, impact on the education, skill and work, CFTRI has done quite a marvelous job. If I'm just giving a comparison, that is 1920, we have developed 15 technologies. But in this year of pandemic, that is 2021, we have developed 37 technologies. And the best part is there are 24 technologies in the pipeline at different levels ready to be cleared by PDRU committee. Apart from that, we had 17 SSPs and 9 consultancy projects with a total of 26 projects. Now coming back to the exciting part, I'll just briefly in 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, I'll give different technologies. So if you look at the technologies on the bakery products, we have 4 technologies, beverage 1, and cereal products. In that, winning food, malted winning foods, 3 variants, a diabetic food with Ayurvedic base, 3 numbers. Then we have convenient products in terms of the soup mixes and chocolate with fortification. Apart from the regular food innovations, we are also looking at this pandemic to address some of these issues in terms of the disinfection. The ozone-based disinfectant disinfection machine was also developed, and it was well received by the entrepreneurs. And fruits and vegetable-based technologies, basically tomato-based products were developed, and it was already implemented in the industries. Then we have minimally processed product in terms of the salads and pomegranate oils. Also, we have microbiology and sanitation-based products. In this, also we have gone out of way not to just address the food issues, but the hand sanitizers as well as the disinfectant. Different hand sanitizers and disinfectants were developed in the form of a technology. And plantation products, we have around 6 technologies, and the protein specialty 1. I'll just briefly run through. I'll not go in details, but the bakery and savory products, which has rich in fiber or antioxidants, that sort of a product we have. Then we have a nutritious soup stick, which is low in fat, high dietary fiber, and rich in total phenolic compounds. So then we have gluten-free cookies. We have pan-flavored water. Very importantly, adding the natural spice extract, which improves the immunity as well as the energy boosting. Low glycemic index food products for the diabetes, basically taking the Ayurveda as a base. Then we have winning foods, basically malted cereals. There are 3 variants of this, and which is very easily digestible and good bioavailability. That study also is done. Also soup, as you know, sweet potato has a lot of goodness that also we have taken, and we have soup mix, which will have a longer shelf life. Then we have a product where we are adding the green tea extract as well as curcumin into the chocolate, which will have a rich in polyphenols. This product is also launched. As I said, we have disinfectant, basically ozone-based disinfectant. This is basically for unoccupied chambers. It can do a good job, and it has been tested and validated at different labs as well as at the different systems. Coming back to tomato-based products, tomato crush, tomato rasam mix, and other tomato-based products are also developed. Of course, pomegranate oils, which has more than 18 days shelf life. Plus, we have collapsible tube is used for putting the paste of different products so that it becomes more convenient. Then we have, this is another product that is a Nutri-Fruit bar with the immunity booster. And in this corona time, we are consuming a lot of vitamin C and zinc, but this is incorporated into this, and this particular product has been distributed for the patients as well as immigrant workers to boost the immunity. Also, we have product with methyl xanthine preparation, different better method. Also, these are different sanitizers developed. And then we have coffee cubes, instant coffee cubes with CGA enriched also. There are 2 variants into it. This is also transferred to the industries. Then we have dehydrated coriander foliage. And then this is Jorumbine crystals. We have developed a technology which will give a better yield and better quality and purity. Then soya protein isolate, which has less anti-nutrient factors, as well as there is a less loss in the amino acid composition with reduced bitterness. These are some of the technologies we developed, and as ma'am said very rightly, in this pandemic, record number of 124 technologies were transferred, keeping all the protocols in mind, and this is transferred to around 93 licenses. That means some of the licenses have taken more than 1 technologies. Interestingly, in 1 minute, I just want to give few highlights, particularly the NutraChicky with added spirulina. This particular technology is transferred for more than 19 entrepreneurs. And Dr. Mahesh He is our he is our student. He has done PhD here. He is also instrumental in connecting the women self-help group and making them entrepreneurs, and he's doing great job. He will also give some feedbacks. Then we have technology transferred with the coffee concentrate, pickle and chutneys, fermented and dehydrated, ready to mix. Priyadarshini, she is one of the budding entrepreneurs. She has taken these technologies. She will give her feedback. Then osmo-dried products. So list is quite long. 60 plus technologies are there, and all this is transferred in this year. And I want to congratulate all the PIs. In spite of this pandemic, they have taken all the precautions and transfer these technologies very successfully. So with this, I thank for your kind attention. And now I request ladies first, Priyadarshini, to unmute herself and give her feedback on her experience with the CFTRI technology. Yes, please, Priyadarshini.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Hi, all. I am Priyadarshini, founder of ME Foods. I started food business, which includes packaged food and ready to cook. While I was searching for training, which could be helping in boosting my business, I came across CFTRI training. I did apply for fermented and dehydrated technology for idli dosa batter. I got very good response from the team in no time, and dates of training will also given. I took this training for 3 days at CFTRI Institute, and it was really good experience to know that technology used behind dosa idli batter, and staff here were really encouraging and supportive. Got to learn many things in terms of technology as well as business. I shall always be thankful to the whole team of CFTRI for helping many entrepreneurs like me in understanding and also adapting new technology in food industry. I also thank the team for providing me such wonderful opportunity and platform to share my experience. Thanks.
Thank you, Priyadarshini, for a very nice feedback. And we are always there with you to do the hand-holding, and we want that you succeed. Now, we have the another licensee, Dr. Pooja Reddy. Interestingly, Pooja Reddy, she has done her PhD and doing a postdoc in CFTRI. Now I request, she has taken technology on pan flavored water. I request Dr. Pooja Reddy to give her comments, please.
Part of this technology day. Have I
You are
have
not.
got so
You need to hold your mic properly. You are not audible.
so am I audible now?
Yes.
So I would like to firstly I would like to thank CFTRI for giving me this opportunity to be a part of National Technology Day. We have taken pan flavored water technology CFTRI, and in throughout this my journey to become an entrepreneur, I have got a good support from team CFTRI as well as from where I mean the pan flavored I can say the one who is behind this technology, that is pan flavored water. I would like to thank Madhav Naidu sir, Chetana ma'am for their support. Whenever I used to call them regarding any doubt or anything, they have cleared all my doubts regarding this technology and all. And I would like to thank team TTBD, Mache sir, Mamta ma'am, Raghavendra sir, Fateh Khan sir, Giriappa sir, and the technical support that is Vinay. Everybody has helped me whenever I visited them with a doubt or anything. They have solved all the doubts and everything. And lastly, not least, I would like to thank my mentor, my guide, my father figure, Dr. Anu Attara sir. He is the one who is, I can say today I am here, that is towards this journey to become an entrepreneur. He's like a father figure to me. He inspired me, he motivated me, he supported me to take me forward. And, I would like to thank also PMC department, whole team PMC, and the pilot plant staff. They have helped me to know that machineries, because this is my first journey. I mean, this is my new journey, I can say. But everybody, whole team CFTRI has helped me to know the technology, to know the machineries. Each and every person of the CFTRI is very helpful. And I would like to thank each and everyone which I got from CFTRI. And I would like to say it is an privilege and honor to be associated with CFTRI, not only in the form of student, as a licensee also. In future also, I would like to be associated with CFTRI. And lastly, I wish to thank each and every person who has given me this opportunity to be a part of this day. Thank you, sir. Thank you, each and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pooja. And we are always there with you for any help. Now, see, if you look at the student community in CFTRI, including Pooja or even Mahesh, Mr. Mahesh, Dr. Mahesh is also a student from CFTRI. And interestingly, Dr. Mahesh, instead of taking the job, he not only started as an entrepreneur, but also he's networking the self-help groups in the Tumkur region in particular and in Karnataka in general. And he's one of the person instrumental in transferring number of technologies on the spirulina chicky. Now I request Dr. Mahesh to give his remarks, please.
Good morning, everyone. I did my dissertation work on spirulina from CFTRI under Dr. Sharda ma'am. And post that, post my engineering, I started Spirulina Foundation, an NGO, and a company called Nature's Best Health Supplements, where we produce and sell spirulina. And we, as a mission, we wanted to address malnutrition of rural India, and we started our journey from 2010. I started this. 2013 onwards, we got linking up with a lot of corporates. We had a CSR partnership with corporates like JSW, Biocon, VRL, Bosch, and many others. Post the national conference that we had in CFTRI Mysore about malnutrition, we shifted our focus from centralized manufacture of product and supplying it to rural India to decentralized production of the spirulina and the spirulina based health products in the villages, so that it even gives a job for the woman. So we changed our theme from mission against malnutrition to mothers against malnutrition, and this has helped a lot of women get jobs. Currently, there are 6 self-help group women who have already got jobs in this activity, 2 in Kolar and 4 in Tiptur. There are, if not this pandemic, we would have had more than 30 groups coming down from Odisha as well. Now, one more district in Odisha is interested in taking it up under their district mineral fund, that is DMF. All in all, we can say that more than 2 lakh children in the rural India are benefited by the technology that was developed by CFTRI, the spirulina Nutri-Chicky, and more than 50 women have already got jobs. and we are in the pipeline of giving job to another 300 rural women, which is helping in fighting the malnutrition of this country, which has a great, economic as well as demographic contribution towards the growth of the nation. And I would like to thank the entire CFTRI team for giving me an opportunity to serve the rural India. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh, for not only as an entrepreneur, but doing a lot of social things. And we are always there with you for all your activities. Thank you. And I wish all the 124 licensees of this year the very best. And we are always there to do your hand holding. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. It's really overwhelming to see that even in spite of pandemic, in midst of pandemic, we have transferred 123 technologies. And also thank you to all the licensees for their constructive feedback. Thank you very much. Now it's time for a much awaited moment to hear from the eminent and most renowned scientist in the field of food science and technology. May I request Dr. Sridevi ma'am to kindly introduce the chief guest to the audience. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Purnima. I also reiterate and congratulate all the licensees and thank them for a very positive feedback, and also wish to let them know that we do have an incubation center and we have an SME corner and a business accelerator also operating in our institute for helping them to take forward their efforts. Now I come to the most awaited moment of this event. Today we have an extremely special chief guest. This year, Padma Shri Dr. Vishweshwaraya Prakash, former director CSIR-CFTRI and former distinguished scientist of CSIR, has kindly consented to deliver the chief guest lecture. It gives me immense pleasure and pride to introduce him to this audience. Dr. Vishweshwaraya Prakash is currently the president of International Union of Food Science and Technology, IUFOST, and the vice president of International Union of Nutritional Sciences, IUNS. He is also the president of International Society of Nutraceuticals and Nutritionals and Naturals in India. He is the chairman, India region of European Hygiene Engineering Design Group, Germany, and adjunct professor at Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences, Bangalore. He is also the adjunct professor at Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai, India. He was the former director of CFTRI Mysore for 16 years and was appointed as distinguished scientist of CSIR India for 5 years subsequently. His entire education is from the University of Mysore, Mysuru. He has received more than 66 national and international awards, including one of the high civilian awards, Padma Shri. He has bagged the coveted Bhatnagar Award for Science and Technology of India and Rajyotsava Award from Karnataka government, and several lifetime achievement awards from various organizations like FICCI, IUFOST, both in India and abroad, as well as KSTA. He is currently serving in the editorial board of a number of food science, technology, and nutrition journals, and is on the editorial board of a number of books globally, as well as the 20-book series of traditional and ethnic food series of the academic press. He is the former chair of panel on nutraceuticals and member scientific committee of FSSAI, Government of India, New Delhi. He is a fellow of most of the academies in India, as well as the Royal Society of Chemistry, UK, IAFOST, Canada, and IFT, USA, as well as KSTA, Karnataka. Dr. Prakash has completed 50 years of his untiring service and dedication to food science, food technology, and nutrition, of which I'm happy to say 33 years were in CSIR-CFTRI. His efforts have resulted in 216 peer-reviewed research publications in the areas of enzymes and protein structure and solution thermodynamics of stability of macromolecules. He has 55 patents filed and has guided 26 PhD degrees as well as some masters. And he has 835 plus keynote, chief guest, and convocation addresses delivered. He is the author of 14 books and 12 more books are in the pipeline. His interface with food industry and global academia networking is huge, very huge, and has carved an iconic name globally. He is a visiting professor in a number of universities in India and abroad and continues to interface in many of the social aspects of reaching out science to people in India. He has effectively used his passion for basic science and technology and the compassion for the mother and child, as well as societal need of the hour in his visionary outreach programs that he has steered, many of them to great success. One such is the 2004 tsunami survivors and the reach out of the food packets from CSIR-CFTRI, which was a historic event, and perhaps for the first time a research organization contributed together as Team CFTRI in the food relief for the flood affected on a massive scale and a war footing for more than a week in India's east coast. This is remembered even today. By this time, I'm sure all of us are in awe of the achievements of our chief guest and extremely eager to hear what he has to say about in an extremely relevant topic of today's talk, which is titled Food Science for Food Technology. I am certain we will be guided in our present research with his words and look forward to hearing this talk. Before your address, sir, I also request you to share your thoughts and advice to our licensees who are key stakeholders in our nation's march towards Atmanirbharata. Now over to our chief guest of today for the National Technology Day, Padma Shri Dr. V. Prakash.
Thank you, Dr. Sridevi, for the wonderful words, which I think just is overwhelming because it brings me back the nostalgic memories with all of you. A very good morning to everybody. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನ ದಿವಸ ನನ್ನ ಹೃದಯದಿಂದ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. Dr. Sridevi rightly pointed out many aspects of Technology Day. Dr. Mache complimented it, and therefore I'm not going to speak too much about it. But it's a great pleasure for me to share this platform, especially on May 11th, 2021 at 11 a.m. That sharing of time with all of you is the real benefit that I get. But of course, it is time for us to also consolidate and see how the nation will fight this pandemic on this day and onwards. And as it is fighting for the last 2 months, never ever in the history of this country we have fought such a pandemic. Dear Head of CSR Family, CSR Director General and Secretary DSIR, Dr. Shekhar Mande, and all colleagues of CSR laboratories and headquarters in the country, Director of CFTRI, Dr. Sridevi Singh, the First Lady Director of this wonderful institute, so much fitting to the name, Annapurna. And my congratulations to you, Dr. Sridevi, heads of all the departments of CFTRI and the resource centers, all the scientists, engineers, and staff, and the research and development, entire faculty, including the scientific departments as well as the supporting departments, and the staff of admin, finance, and stores, and my very, very dear students of CSIR and also CFTRI, RC and MC members of CFTRI, colleagues and retirees of CFTRI, and also the masters, alumni, members of CFTRI who are globally spread, and I'm sure many of them are in deep sleep in the midnight, and they will probably look at the YouTube later. My friends in the CFTRI scientific fraternity, especially in the young minds who are really being trained by CFTRI, which is very unique in the CSIR system of giving an MSc course as well as the workshop that is being conducted. My friends in the DRDO labs, especially DFRL Mysore, represented by Dr. Semwal, as the director of that institute, and all the colleagues there, friends in ICIR system. I'm sorry, that was a phone call. And all the academy that are really being involved in this technology day, like NASI, NAS, INSA, IAS, especially AFST, AIFPA, ASOCAM, CII, and colleagues in the Ministry of Food Processing and ICMR, and especially the NIFTAM and IIFPT and related organizations. Dear special friends in industries, especially small and medium scale industries supporting the large scale, academia, research institutions globally in biotechnology, IT, and also in the bio-food resources and sciences, the startups, the allied members of CSR families, ladies and gentlemen, and invitees for this function. It's a wonderful opportunity today to really talk about another 30 to 35 minutes on a few points that I would like to place before you rather than any advice at this stage of my life. It is also important when we look at the entire fraternity of the entrepreneurs themselves, about 125, who have taken the technologies from CFTRI, have just started to see the technology. And they have a long way to go, and that long way is not in the technology transfer MOU. They need to struggle hard, build up a portfolio for themselves, and penetrate the market in a very different way than ever before. The market equations have changed, and it is important that when we look at all this, the young entrepreneurs whom I heard today representing the 125 entrepreneurs who have taken technology from CFTRI in this current year are really the hope for us for tomorrow. And they will be the tomorrow's mega players, and I wish them all a global playing field, a level field, as compared to just being always labeled as small-scale industries. Today's women, cottage, village, small-scale industries are tomorrow's medium, large global industries. And that should be our dream. And when you become global industries, dear entrepreneurs, just remember that you started something with the wonderful institute called CSIR-CFTRI. And I'm sure that is the umbilical cord that we'll all have between ourselves and the public, because without industries, no product public will get. Therefore, this May 11th, the Technology Day, which is the 22nd Technology Day, reminds me of the words, quote, India matters to us and it is our endeavor that we shall matter to India more, unquote. These words were crafted at the CSIR Directors Conference in 1998 at NAL on May 11th, 1998, and the words found real substance when the same year of 1998, the then former Prime Minister, Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, announced that May 11th is the Technology Day on the CSIR Foundation Day in 1998. It's almost 23 years back we are talking. Therefore, this year at this time, we need to really focus, and the entire globe is focusing, and especially India is passing through a very, very difficult time, never before of this magnitude of a pandemic from the variants of COVID-19 strain from the coronavirus. Time that we reinforce our sacrifice to this wonderful country in all the possible ways, and we can help, provided we keep us and our family safe. Dear friends and relatives who were there yesterday are no more tomorrow is what is happening on our messages, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and many, many other mechanisms of reaching us. But to build in that resilience in the population is our goal, and we should never fritter away from that. And taking care of oneself and family and the entire protocol of the COVID behavior or the appropriate behavior of MHDSE, namely mask, hand wash, distance, staying home, and exercise is very, very vital at this point of time. If one is affected, the whole family is affected, the whole neighborhood is affected, and so on. It's a chain reaction. It takes some time to heal, and we must be confident also, not lose heart, and keep up our normalcy with a bold face up and say that here we are, we will soon return to normalcy, but we need to be extra cautious when we say that. And I'll come to immunity and food at a later point of time, but CFTRI has a very major role, as you can see from the products, that we need to play in this part of the history of this country, a very vital role of making sure that we boost our immunity, not only from the vaccine, but also from the daily food that we eat and the exercise. With that introduction, let me move on to the core of today's talk entitled Food Science for Food Technology. The theme of today's Technology Day has been very clearly phrased as S&T for a sustainable future. I would like to divide my talk into 4 quadrants. First part talks about market and the consumer, which is myself, yourself, and the need for the consumer, what needs to be his priority. Second part talks about technology, and the third part talks about science, and the last part is way forward for CFTRI and also the various entrepreneurs who have gathered today with a clear mandate of a very perfect way of thinking the synergy and the symbiosis. If we look at some of the major points and how we are placed in this global positioning of nature, food, and at the same time, the life itself, if we look at the 3 corners of a triangle and the symbiosis, the farming, the food surplus, and the food reach out, is just unaffected by COVID. That shows the resilience of this country. Nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to give credit for that. People do pick up the wrong things. I think it is here, the internal trade, the foreign trade, the finance and taxation, skilling and employment, education and research, which is the national education policy today from the government, which was launched last year and is taking a very good shape, energy and water management, water especially and energy especially, in every technology should reflect, reduce, recycle and regenerate. A very important point, whether at home or at an industry or at an institution. Seed to need is the real need of the farmer today, and the nutritional remedies for diseases and maladies is in the hands of many institutions which CFTRI can collaborate with. Of course, the concept of biodiversity, the carbon footprint, as well as handling and minimizing food waste and losses. My own report to FAO in 2014 made a big dent to show that a lot of food is wasted in advanced countries as compared to in the low-income countries. Because in the low-income countries, there is not much food which can be purchased at a very high price. So every apple, every banana, every commodity is very carefully handled like a baby. It is important that where the food is wasted is in the rich countries, which can afford to waste that food. So therefore, in all angles, we are very positive. We are doing excellent. And let us have that confidence before I go to other points and place before you some very important concepts that have come out in the last 1 year, how it is going to change the world, the way we live in tomorrow, not by the same method, not by the same research papers, not by the same technology transfer, but by an altogether different methods. If I look at the first part of my talk on consumer and market, any product has to reach market and must really establish there. If it doesn't, it goes away, as all of you know. My entrepreneur friends, the industry friends know it better than we scientists because they have suffered a lot. So therefore, positioning a product in the consumer need basket in a very clear price and quality and safety triangle of any product, be it be a cosmetic, be it be a food, be it be a cloth, whatever it is, these have to be conformative to the consumer. Price, quality, and safety. Convenience is very important for the consumer. I give you a piece of cloth and say, stitch it and wear it. Will you do that? You won't never. I think it's here. Today's instant food that I saw, what Dr. Mache projected and Dr. Sridevi mentioned, is all instant food, convenience food. The kudos goes to Dr. CSIR-CFTRI's innovation, and was a game changer at that time when nobody in the world thought about it. It is like, almost like Microsoft, on which we are all connected today on the platform. Game changers. Dr. CSIR-CFTRI's innovation of instant and convenience food was a game changer. The world did not know anything about it. Did we miss the bus? No, we did not. But we may not get the credit. And therefore, it is very important to package and give that fantastic appearance of a ready-made packet like Windows 11, Windows 12, and make that conform to the safety regulations. This is where the breaking news comes. This is where the brand equity is established. It is not that one product. It is a game-changing product. This can be in any area. Therefore, we should look like an eagle's eye for game-changing at CFTRI level. At the same time, at the bottom of the pyramid, one should really look at new products. I agree with that. But what is needed today is to hunt for that game change plan. And the need of the hour is also differentiation of the product and market positioning. You need to replace a product in the market shelf by one's own product. How does it happen? The consumer has a choice. How will he go and replace his hand to another product? Therefore, a demand creation, the uniqueness and novelty, and an innovative product should never be forgotten. And it needs to be improved every 6 months or a year. Maybe CFTRI may not do that for all entrepreneurs, but the entrepreneurs themselves, because they are entrepreneurs and innovators and startups, they must focus on that. With the parameters that I mentioned above, one must see the gaps in the market which needs to be filled up by different people who are in the level playing field in the area of grains, including millets, fruits and vegetables, including locally grown fruits and vegetables, meat, poultry and eggs, very important because they are highly perishable. The dairy sector, a very important sector which CFTRI for some reason has not really looked at very carefully, and one needs to really open up the doors for the dairy sector. Spices, CFTRI is the first one in the world to make name in that. And therefore, today you know from the Ayush Ministry website, if you see, spices and immunity are so much related that we need to really relook at it. And like some of your product contains those immune building factors, but today we need to be game changers with the nearly 75 years of experience of CFTRI by 2025. I think those game-changing plans has to be in place if we really want to make a dent. Market survey, therefore, is the very important activity that should never be forgotten. An entrepreneur may come or not, but CFTRI should be ahead of the industry and occupying an important place today. Compared to a decade ago, things have changed and the situation have changed, and therefore its research attempts must be in market survey. Projects on market survey, projects not for just products, projects on market survey to understand the consumer, to understand the market forces is very important, and to place on the drawing table and analyze, and then think back on the market survey data and the driving force for research problems. So it is actually the reverse technology I'm talking. Normally what we used to do was to work on a project which is good for me, which I like it, and the director likes it, and the PMC has cleared it, the TTBD would make sure of that. This is true of all CSR labs, not only of CFTRI, but it is important for us today at different levels to look at the gap. Dr. Sridevi mentioned about the aircraft from NAL. Why was it made to take up as a project role in the country? Because there was a gap in that market of a segment where India did not have a 14-seater aircraft. So therefore, that is the kind of gap that we need to identify and then work on it. But it is again a chicken and egg situation. If I go to market survey and waste 2 years, I get back, I don't have papers, patents, PhDs, processes, products, and public good, then what happens is I don't get my promotion in the lab. So this is the scientist problem. Yes, very truly said. But it's a balance between that one has to strike. By the time one recognizes the problem, the importance and the need of it has already vanished, because every 6 months the scenario changes. Just like the news of COVID we see. Every day we are seeing a new news, new signs, and we are not only confused, but we are also perplexed at the way people are really understanding this virus. Therefore, it is time for us to look at market intelligence, and not only that, using AI, artificial intelligence, and especially the machine learning, as well as the penetrating R&Ds, which are game changers, to fuse into each other with the industry, and at the same time produce products and processes which are firmly based on science. And at the same time, the background research of a small group should continue with innovation, not only for enhancing the richness of the platform of IPR, but also to attract industries for tomorrow's ideas. Therefore, today you have an entrepreneur who takes Naturo, the mango bar, and adds an immune factor to that and make it more useful for today's. But the thing is, 5 years from now, I hope things like COVID will not be a repetition, but we need to be aware what we can learn from this incidence of pandemic, and how can we be ready with products from CFTRI, which can really make a difference together into a channelized way of thinking, never ever before. There should be a war room, like the COVID war room in many places at CFTRI, at the think tank, to really discuss with several boards where matters are written and struck off. And this war room has to be really distilling very, very, different information than what it was 10 years back or 20 years back. So the game-changing plan is in the hands of CFTRI and similar institutes in CSR, ICMR, ICAR, DRDO, and at the same time in various other research institutions like agricultural universities, which are the backbone of CFTRI. And we need to really hold them together and work with them. We seldom have that connectivity. It is important. The backward integration of agricultural universities of ICAR At the same time, the forward interaction with Indian Institute of Management and many other systems for the market situation. So therefore, here CFTRI is in between, playing a fantastic role, and we should continue to strengthen that by not only investment of money, but investment of human resource. With that, let me move on to technology. The second part and second quadrant, the word technology is very loosely used today and creating confusion. I say, here is the technology ready, Mr. Entrepreneur, please come and take it. So I take some money and I give him the technology at 1 kg, 100 kg, maybe 1000 kg. But where is the missing link in that technology? The missing link is the backward linkage and the forward linkage. An entrepreneur is very innocent, let me say that, because he believes an institution, whether it is CFTRI or any other institution of CSIR, he believes that this works. In spite of the fact that many people may say, you know, I have taken the technology, but it didn't work. Therefore, it is very important to keep a track. How many people have taken technology? How many have succeeded in the same technology? How many did not succeed? Why they didn't succeed? It is because of their management skills being not there, not because technology is bad. So therefore, we need to always not only handhold, but follow up as a shadow and see what is happening. Maybe they took a bad loan. Maybe they over-invested in something which is not priority. So they got into a debt trap. But it's always very easy to say the technology from such and such an R&D institution did not work. Nobody to check, nobody to worry. So therefore, we need to really not only handhold, but also follow up what happened. And make sure the documentation is very clear, fundamentally in the institution, that that did not work because they did not manage it well at all. So therefore, it is important for me to exercise the fundamental issue of a very important issue to distinguish between show how, know how, and do how. I think if we call the show how, know how, and do how as technology, I think we are making a big mistake. We need to be very careful. I think the director mentioned some technologies are also given free. So perhaps that may be one way, but we need to be clear to the entrepreneurs. This is not technology, because technology is matching backward integration to forward integration of market and the whole chain. And very difficult to do that. And therefore, these are show how, know hows, and do hows. You can improve it. So then what happens is the level of confidence goes up and the clarity emerges with scientists, technologists, and food engineers especially. And I remember 3 years back, the use of many technologies in terms of show hows, know hows, do hows from CFTRI with the help of engineers got really converted to technology in the mission mode project of CSIR, and the scale up that was done at a very small level by many departments together went up as a scale up of 100 kgs, 1000 kgs, which should be calculated clearly and shown, whether it is the government of India or the state governments or the entrepreneurs. And therefore, when we look at such impactful game changers, the entire policy synergy has to change on a day-to-day basis in technology. Technology alone will not succeed. Technology needs really the coupling with policies. A technology without a policy supported from the government is very difficult to promote. And therefore, it is important that one should closely work with the government in terms of technology and policy. It is important that a policy from the government of India on the fruits and vegetable mission mode system, what did it do? It made India #1 today in fruits and vegetable growth. We bet Brazil very silently and very effectively. So therefore, what will keep us going as #1? provided we value add. Value addition doesn't mean take a mango and make it a pulp. Value addition also is extension of shelf life of the same commodity for a month. And that is very important. Whether it is spraying during the month of November, December on a mango tree, and then looking at no infestation of the mango, all that is backward integration. That is technology. And therefore, converting the value addition of the products is not just by making products, but integrating to extend the shelf life. This is true of fisheries. This is true of dairy sector. And Korean did a marvelous job in the dairy sector and shown the world a very clear pathway. And India is again #1 in dairy for 20 years. It is complicated how the world sees us with not only an empathy in terms of COVID, but still they are struggling hard to understand how we are managing our food, dairy, and a packet of milk comes to our house every day morning. Amazing India. Hats off to India for that governorship as well as the governance in terms of running the country in this pandemic with perishables like milk. And therefore, we need to learn from that to integrate technology with policy. And we need to also learn from time to time from the chemical industry. Today, we know the vaccine, the raw material was stifled for India. But we quickly get up with many biotech industries, with enzyme software industry, and a new product and a new vaccine was on its way in Covaxin. This push of technology does arise from policies. And it is very important that when we talk about 2G, 3G, 4G, and today 5G, the policies were driving the technologies. And the technologies in turn should induce policies. And this is the job of an institute like CFTRI, and in fact, many institutes of CSR which are doing it. Hence, in the direction of policies and the institute's mandate, one must really work hard. And today, CFTRI should really work hard with Ministry of Food Processing Industry in the intellectual partner, as an intellectual partner, in the policy push to make India self-reliant in value addition, to agri-business with backward integration and the forward market forces which I mentioned. Technology also has an issue of IPR, intellectual property right. It could be patent, it could be geographical appellation, it could be an issue of copyright, could be an issue of trademark. All are related to IPR, basically. And not that everything one patents is saleable, not necessary. It is important for us to build that portfolio to be respected, but a few bubble patents will be sufficient to protect that intellectual property. But please, I would like to remind you, when it comes to midday meal, the noon meal for children, which CFTRI started in 1980, there was no patent for that. And there is no need for taking a patent on that because it reaches the children today. And that children would be really not knowing anything about patents. They only know about one thing, hunger. And therefore, CFTRI did it right in not patenting it and make it available to every different way we are talking of making that open access to a system where hunger is addressed, poverty is addressed, buying capacity is addressed. And I think we should remember that that is our compassion in the passion of science. Therefore, in this momentum of work of science, we also need to do an inward thinking and how to give priority in renewing our own technologies, revisiting our technologies, and make it workable in a system where we are really clear in terms of technology needs and the fundamental end-to-end food chain. Sometimes alone an institute cannot have end-to-end technology. Industry is excellent partner, but it comes at a later stage. The supply and demand change is managed very well by the industry, and we need to learn that so that they don't have a gap. Otherwise, one day production stops. This is crucial in technology management. Further innovation in technology has to be an inherent and also a prophylactic way of doing things for each technology in such a way that the technology, unless it is really battered with all bubble patents and all the end products that are moving in the market, which is assured market, and at the same time large numbers of products which have got incremental innovation from time to time, and delta incremental innovation will survive even in the highly competitive market, not to worry about it. And first, we should worry about the internal market of nearly 1.4 billion people, and India is a very good market for that. This is tough and not easy just to advise, but it's a 24/7 effort at global level and at global grid level. Just like the genome sequencing and uploading on the grid every day the sequence of the COVID-19 virus and say, this is a variant coming from XYZ country, and therefore that is how today we need to look at the synergy and symbiosis between CFTRI, DFRL, NIFTEM, IAFPT, and the food science and nutrition departments on the global pattern, not only in India but elsewhere, and agricultural university to come together. And CFTRI can take the lead on that. And we can protect the intellectual property, that's not an issue. But certainly CFTRI's lead in that strategically will work towards and make CFTRI as an important leader with a well-wishing. Not that I will grab anything from you, but you can grab from me, provided we give it to the nation together. So I think this is very important on the open access and the Team India Food Technology. I repeat, Team India Food Technology can be really nurtured by the motherhood of CFTRI, and it will emerge victorious. Today's market and today's industry really demands it. Need of really a well-marked situation of no longer 1,000 kg pilot plant are today necessary. We require a wall-mounted pilot plant wherein you can manage with the artificial intelligence, machine learning, and a lot of 3D printing that goes on today. In just 10 feet by 10 feet, you can convert all parameters, and technology transfer is very easy at any scale. Therefore, as I come to the last portion of my talk, which is food science, as I run out of time, this year marks the really 50 years of my career as a food scientist. But I wonder, what did I do? I don't even know which paper I published. I don't even know whether anybody is reading it. But what remains is, if you have made some innovation, if it survives for 5 to 8 years, you should be happy about it. I think today's basic science and cellular understanding is just increasing. Thus, fundamental science is very important and not to neglect. And we need to continue to understand the basic mechanisms and the way food components interact with each other, not only in the plate, in the processing, but in the mouth and gut. Very little is known of the interfacing of food ingredients in the stomach and the gut. Therefore, so how do we use a basic technology of food components and its interaction with the body cells in boosting immunity is not $1 million question. A lot of it is known in 5,000 years of history of this country, which is well documented by Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, Ahara Adhikaranam, Bhava Prakasha, etc. So we need to really have interface with many of those knowledge-based documents and somebody who can interpret for the scientists and looking oneself to protect viruses, pathogens, and disease-causing fungi. What is termed as dose documentation as CRIMI. CRIMI is a Sanskrit word. It's a generic word for all this. I'm not telling you copy that and produce a product, but let us take the best of distilled knowledge from it and put it back into reverse technology and work out a chest of products that can come out and then unfold the knowledge rapidly. post-COVID challenges and food to be consumed by a COVID recovery patient is really lacking in the country and the world at large. Not many have thought this idea that how does a COVID patient recover? It is like the severely acute malnutritive children, SAM. What kind of intravenous food that you are going to give the person? It is time that the National Networking on Food Science, I call it NNFS, on the National Networking on Food Science, must come together to model a genome open access system similar to that and establish newer way of working together, not only on individual basis cascading into institutional convergence, but also requires a holistic approach of excellence in cellular chemistry, as well as limiting such discretion to value chain as well as the healthcare system. That's the wider, broader integration in a geophysical and geomagnetic space that we have today. Whether it is nutrition, cellular chemistry, biophysics of food, biomolecular pharma interaction with food, food epidemiology and heritage, neurosciences will all be tomorrow's convergence and disappearance of departmental boundaries. Ultimately, the national and international body, when I have seen over 40, 50 players globally making one project today, and therefore the time has come to really fuse food culture, traditional food, including nano layering and nano sensors, as well as mega projects that can really put CSIR and CFTRI's name as the leaders, provided the 5 to 8 years ahead pattern and the map is very clear and the pathway to leadership is a game changer. Establishing future food science for 2025, 2030 ideas and the human resource needed are very important for an institution like CFTRI. There has been, if there was no CRISPR technology, for example, in the world, the development of a vaccine in 9 months would not have been possible. So therefore, we are looking at various game changers like CRISPR technology, which made a big difference in the system of producing either vaccine by mRNA or by protein. But most importantly, CFTRI today, in the change scenario of competition in the marketplace and the research that is happening worldwide, must think of that research that it is going to do in research 2030 for India and the globe. As really the world scenario exists today, I have seen globally how small institutions are empowering themselves with the fusion of technology of IT, AI, and IoT with machine learning in areas where they were never thought they would ever be there, making a huge dent in biopolymers to heat resistance composites and to telemedicine. CSIR and CFTRI must bravely participate in even in unconnected areas, learn from it and apply with the engineering brains that we have in terms of collaboration, consolidation, converging with many institutes, including ministries such as Ayush, and the large component of such knowledge in herbals and expertise of CFTRI in such interfaces requires a chartered couriering of a careful conglomeration of cluster ideas that one has to really make a dent. There is so much potential. I would conclude by saying that if we look at least 50 to 60% of the futuristic research, the distilled wisdom of CFTRI really has to reach the 75th birthday of CFTRI in 2025, October 20th. Not too far away, 1,500 days away. One need to make sure a future document emerges in game changing and how food science and technology can change the world, which is very important documentation. It is also important such a monumental contribution can only come if we look at from the bottom of the pyramid all the way top and look at other areas of success in pharmaceuticals, in aviation, and in IT, biotechnology, and many other areas, and emulate and formulate and also make sure focus in such areas of technology from the science of web to make the following quote-unquote sentence, quote, eating is not only pleasure and enjoyable experience with the grandmother's touch of tradition, but also must be nutritive and healthy and boost the immunity as a factor of 10 times better than the vaccine. We need to really take such bold steps. People may sometimes laugh at that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The last laugh will be from CFTRI. And we have shown that in tsunami, we have shown that in midday meals, we have shown that in many things, and nothing to worry about it. If it fails, but we go on. The brainchild of today's science is gut health and physical and mental wellness. Through epidemiology of foods, nothing can stop you. All this has to be focused on safe food and assurance to consumer that food is safe. Not to forget about scale up and the 320 Akshay Patra centers in India, almost reaching to about 14 crore children every school day, but right now it is not there, but every school day. And India being number one in milk and fruits and vegetables simply shows the confidence that we have in the area of food, that we can stand on our legs and take care. None of us have suffered by not getting food in the COVID pandemic for the last 1 year. What does it show? The system is going very good. Nobody worries about CFTRI contribution, but the game changer of instant food has revolutionized the COVID consumer buying pattern. So therefore, you may not get the credit, but we are not looking for credit. We are looking at fixing up the debit in the system by our contribution. I would like to end up by telling that the critical mass of scientists in CFTRI is very important. Unless we have 300 to 400 hard-working scientists together, the critical mass may really have difficulty. Tomorrow's food engineers are needed in plenty, and at the same time, one needs to have a dream, a plan, an execution, a hard-working team, like all of you are, and more importantly, to collaborate with industries and academia and the R&D institutions world over, with only one charter, that you shall lead and you shall not follow. You have nothing to lose but to gain. Therefore, innovate science plus adaptable technologies, cost-effective, plus modern tools of IoT gives a solution to the National Technology Day theme, Science and Technology for a Sustainable Future this year. I would frame this quotation for CFTRI. If you like it, you can modify. Quote, food science and food technology for sustainable health and wellness for the people is the goal, quote unquote, as it reaches its 75th birthday in the next 1,500 days. Thank you for this opportunity, for sharing some of my ideas. Some of them may be very radical, some of them may be very conventional, but as belonging to the yesterdays, I need to really look at conventional ideas too, how it saved India, how it saved the CSIR, and how it made a difference in the public. But at the same time, we need to look very optimistically for future with the confidence that make sure, please stay away from crowded places and protect yourself and your family. Whether you are inside the house or outside the house, keep yourself healthy and make sure that you contribute to the wellness of this country. Back springing again in about 2 months. And I wish and may God bless you all in this very testing time of ours. And we stay together. On this particular day, we take an oath that we help each other. Thank you very much for this opportunity, Dr. Sridevi, and all the team CFTRI members, the retirees, the students, and the alumni, and the industries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for this truly inspirational talk of yours. As always, loaded. Every word was so loaded that I cannot make a synopsis of it anymore. I just gave it up after the first 10 minutes. The keywords like game changer, continuous improvement, innovation, follow-up, know how, show how, do how, technology, policy, interface, looking at intellectual property, open access, and so on. I'm sure most of all the people who have heard you today would go back in time, and we are really wondering, where do you get so much energy from? It's obviously your passion for food science and technology and the field that you have been working for the past 50 years. So you are indeed a role model for all of us, and we congratulate you for your 50th year in this field. And we have been a witness earlier also, and are very proud to be associated with you. And your enthusiasm will definitely enthuse us also to work towards the best of our ability in finding S&T, science and technology solutions in our chosen field. And I especially look for your vision going forward with focus, clarity on, and an eye on detail and delivery to the nation's needs. I really cannot say anything more. You have held us spellbound. So thank you very much, sir. Indeed, you are an inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As ma'am rightly said, it was a very on the importance of food science and technology for now, be it pandemic situation or not, and also for all the coming years. We thank you, sir, for your valuable suggestion to take CFTRI to greater heights with an incremental, innovative, scalable food technologies that are integrated with various interdisciplinary subjects which are convenient, market assured, and of course, backed by a strong basic research. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Namaskar. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir. We have now come to the end of this very interesting and exciteful event. May I now request Dr. Nandini P. Shetty to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Purnima. Good afternoon, one and all. As we have come to the end of today's program, it gives me immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks on the occasion of National Technology Day. On behalf of CSIR-CFTRI, first and foremost, I would like to thank our Honorable Chief Guest, Padma Shri Dr. V. Prakash, former Director of CSIR-CFTRI, former Distinguished Scientist of CSIR, for readily accepting our invitation and gracing the occasion, in spite of his busy schedule. I'm sure everybody present here are motivated by his talk on prospects of food science and technology and the gap and the path forward in the market. On behalf of the staff and student of CSIR-CFTRI, I wish to express my heartfelt thanks to you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I wholeheartedly thank our beloved director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, for taking the initiative and organizing this program. Thank you very much, ma'am. I wish to thank all the director of our CSIR sister labs, DRDO director, Dr. Anil Semwal, all the RC members, and all the for taking out time and joining the program with us. Thank you, one and all. I would like to thank all the licensees who made it possible to be present today and give their valuable remarks on the experience and sharing a very positive feedback, which is highly appreciated by the audience gathered in this program. Next, I would like to thank Mr. Rajeshwar Mache for briefing us about the technologies and the licensee of our institute. Thank you, sir. Next, I wish to thank all the HODs, staff, students, administrative staff, and former scientists and colleagues of CSIR-CFTRI and other invited guests who are present in this program. I express my gratitude to Head PMC and Computer Center, Mr. Manilal and his team for coordinating all the activities of this program. Thank you all. I would like to thank all the press and media personnel for who are able to be present with us for media coverage. Thank you. I acknowledge the support from head staff of INP, TDBT, Electrical, Audiovisual, and Security. I would like to thank Dr. Purnima Priyadarshini for giving all us a warm welcome and doing a wonderful comparing. Finally, I thank one and all. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now it is soft. Sorry.